Welcome back, everyone. I'm really excited to be able to share some of the information that I have accumulated today for this episode. And I first wanted to start off with a nice little statement here from my mug. Be the change you want to see in the world. And Gandhi said that. And I love this. And I love this mug too, because as it gets hot, it changes colors. So it's really fun. But I wanted to talk a little bit today about how our thoughts and our emotions affect our physical body. And this was kind of a long journey for me to figure this out. As a society, we've kind of been taught at a very young age that our physical symptoms should be treated in a physical way. And that was the way that I was going through my own personal healing journey. I was really overlooking some areas in my life that because I was so focused on the physical that I didn't even really understand why I wasn't healing properly. And it can be hard for some of us to believe that there is more to the human body than what we can actually see. And as a child, I could feel things in a very deep way. And I knew that there was more to life than what I was actually being taught and what I could actually see. But as I got older, I began to let go of those beliefs and fit into what society was kind of telling me was right about me and my body. And for nearly 10 years, I was married to a pharmaceutical rep, and I would see him trying to make more and more money by going to each physician's office and selling, more of his product, his pharmaceutical drugs. And I didn't really understand what was going on behind the scenes. I just knew that his job helped pay the bills, and he was working really hard to get out there and try to get more and more physicians signed on. And later on in my life, I took a job in a hospital, and I got to see firsthand how some physicians, not all physicians, but some physicians were just prescribing to prescribe. And I was seeing these patients coming in regularly, and they didn't look like they were getting any better, but they were just wanting more and more medication. They would be coming into the emergency department, and they wanted more pain meds and more medication to take away the hurt and the pain, whatever they were experiencing. And it got to a point where some of them, they had to cut them off. They just couldn't, give them any more. And it was really hard for me, being an empath. And at the time, I didn't know I was an empath. I was picking up on that pain and that suffering that some of these patients were coming in to the hospital trying to alleviate their pain. And they were getting handed prescription medications. And some of them truly believed that these medications were helping them or would help them. And honestly, some of the medications may have been helping them, but they truly believed that every time they came into the hospital that they needed that medication. And if they didn't get it, they were walking away, in more pain and more suffering. And that was so difficult to see. So this kind of started me on my own healing quest to see what else is there outside of the normal physical ways that we help treat people and how we help heal people and how we can actually help heal ourselves. And this is where it was revealed to me that the missing link to my healing was the human energetic system. And so in the last episode, we talked briefly about how human emotions are energy in motion, kind of like a GPS or a compass or an internal guidance system, so to speak, that shows us where we are in relation to what we are focusing on, right? So energy flows where attention goes. We talked about that in the last episode. When we start to become more aware or more conscious of how we feel, we turn that subconscious autopilot thinking, or that reactive thinking is what we can actually call it too, into a choice. We can only change what we are aware of, all right? So we as humans have a tendency to want to change our emotions because we don't want to feel them. We want to stuff them down. We want them to go away. We don't want to deal with them. We don't want to see them. So we suppress and we repress them. This strongly affects our energetic field, which then ripples out to our physical body. Repression leads to depression, okay? And that's exactly what I suffered with because, I grew up in a family where the women are pretty strong. I lived in upstate New York, and we were pretty strong, gals, and we were kind of taught to just suck it up, suck it up. Don't, rub some dirt on it. You'll be fine, right? Well, my whole life I've been teaching myself to suck it up and rub some dirt on it, and it wasn't helping me because I was not processing those emotions. I was repressing them and suppressing them. And it started to make me depressed, especially working in a hospital setting when I was working in the intensive care units around a lot of families who were suffering with grief and loss. It became very difficult. And I was like this pressure cooker. Everything was just boiling to the surface. And I did not know how to release it. And it was so difficult. So allowing our emotions to come to the surface, to be released, is the key to understanding how the human body truly heals. So the power of our thoughts are so strong. There is a Japanese researcher, and I encourage you guys, as I talk about some of these topics, to go out there and research for yourself. Don't just take my word for it. This was part of my journey where I started to dive down into the rabbit hole, the infinite rabbit holes, and find more information for my own healing process. And now I just want to be able to share this information with you. So I truly do encourage you to research this on your own, because you may see it from a different perspective than I do. But I wanted to share, this particular story with you because I think for me, it really opened my eyes to a lot of things. There's a Japanese researcher who claimed that human consciousness, positive and negative intent and energy, his name was Dr. Masaru Emoto, E-M-O-T-O. He claimed that this positive and negative intent had an effect on the molecular structure of distilled water. His work explored the belief that the water could react to positive thoughts and words, and that the polluted water could be cleaned through prayer and positive visualization. So if you actually Google this information, there are pictures of these molecules of water that he had either prayed over or said negative comments towards. And the ones that he emphasized positivity, love, forgiveness, healing, happiness, joy. They looked beautiful. They looked like these beautiful snowflakes, and they were in this beautiful crystalline structure. But the water molecules that he actually focused the negative intentions on, hate, rage, pain, suffering, all of those types of negative intent, they look like murky water, murky, swampy water. And I encourage you to look up his research because it's just fascinating. And the reason why I bring this up, because if the positive and negative intent affects water in that way, how does it affect our human body? We are like walking water bottles, right? Approximately, the human body holds anywhere between 50% to 75% water. So children are roughly 75%. The average adult is between 60 to 65%, and an elderly adult is around 50% water. So the human eyes alone are 95% water. I find that so fascinating. And the brain is 83% water, roughly. The kidneys are the same. The lungs hold about 85% water, and the human heart around 75%, and our muscles are about 75%. But what holds the most water is the blood. The blood in our human body holds 95% water. Oh, I just find that so amazing. So the words that we think and say have a direct impact on our energy and the energy that we come in contact with, the other people that we come in contact with. So we have to be consciously aware of what our thoughts are. Even if we aren't saying them, we could actually be thinking it. And we know now that thoughts are energy. And when we put an intention behind it, it just grows. So when we are actually thinking negative thoughts about someone, even if they're miles and miles and states away, we are still sending that negative energy to that person. And it can be causing some destructive patterns within their own molecular structure. So it is so fascinating. So be very aware of your thoughts and the words that you are projecting out into your energetic field and the energetic field of others, because they are making an impact on other people. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the iceberg effect. This is another thing that I thought was super neat that I wanted to share. And it's basically when you think of an iceberg, and I guess for me, I always think of the Titanic, right? Because they hit an iceberg. Well, why did the Titanic hit the iceberg? They saw on top, of the water, a certain portion of the iceberg, but what actually hit, the boat actually hit, was underneath the water, a larger portion of that iceberg. So when you put an iceberg in context with our conscious mind and our subconscious mind, the iceberg on top of the water is our conscious mind. That's about roughly 10% of what we utilize on any given moment is 10% of our conscious mind. So that includes our willpower, our long-term memory, our logical thinking, our critical thinking. Underneath the water is that subconscious mind, and that's about 90% of what's going on. So that's kind of that autopilot that is running the show behind the scenes when we aren't really consciously aware of it. So those are going to be our beliefs, our emotions, our habits, our values, our protective reactions to the way that we have to react to our environment. That's our long-term memory. That's also our imagination and our intuition. So there's a lot that takes place in our subconscious mind that we aren't even really aware of. And what's really neat is one neuron fires per second at a conscious level, and 1 million neurons fire per second at a subconscious level. Whoa, that's pretty amazing if you really think about it. So our past experiences, our childhood beliefs, our negative thought patterns, and our unprocessed emotions are stored in the subconscious mind, and they guide our actions daily on autopilot. This is reactive thinking. So this is why we're talking about how we can be more conscious of our thoughts, how we can turn off that autopilot mode, catch ourselves in autopilot mode. One example that always comes to mind of when I have been in autopilot mode is, say, for example, every single day you take the same route to work, all right? Get off exit, 285 every single day. And one day you've got to go to a doctor's appointment, and it's maybe exit 287, okay? And you're just driving along and you're, on your way. You're like, oh, I got to go to my doctor's appointment. I turn off here on exit 285. I'm at work. Oh, wait. Oh, I'm at work. I'm supposed to go to exit 287 to my doctor's appointment. Well, that's an example of when autopilot is working. You really aren't even consciously aware that you're driving because you are so accustomed to the routine. So what we try to do is shake it up a little bit, take a different route to work, do different things, be more spontaneous. That forces your subconscious mind to shut off and your conscious mind to turn on, because if you're taking a different route, you have to be aware of the different, lights, the different stop signs, the different pedestrians. It's not the same. So if you find yourself constantly in autopilot, turn it off. Do something spontaneous. Go out there and take a different route. Do something different. It'll really turn off that autopilot and turn on that conscious mind. So there's really another really neat effect that I came about in my research when I started reading about how thoughts and emotions can affect our physical body. And it's called the Maharishi Effect. Take a sip there for a second. In the 1960s, a yogi named Maharishi Mahesh claimed that when a significant number of individuals came together to practice the technique of Transcendental Meditation, they could have an effect on the local environment. The findings showed that 1% of the community practiced Transcendental Meditation, that the crime rate was reduced 16% on average. 16%. 15%. What? This influence was later named the Maharishi Effect. I find that absolutely fascinating. So, what is Transcendental Meditation? So, as I started to go down my healing journey, you hear a lot about mindfulness and meditation, and I started to do some research on the different types of meditation. And I found this extremely fascinating that one of the ways that you can shut off that autopilot mode and tap more into your subconscious mind is to do meditation. So transcendental meditation is a technique for avoiding distracting thoughts by promoting a state of relaxed awareness. Okay, so some studies have found that regular meditation can reduce chronic pain, anxiety, high blood pressure, and so much more. And for me, I started using it because of anxiety. I was working in a hospital setting and there was so much intensity that I would start to have panic attacks. And I would find myself going to my office and just shutting the door and having like 10 minutes of quiet time where I could actually just focus on my breath, close my eyes, maybe pop on my headphones and listen to some binaural beats or some, isotropic sounds and those types of things, where I could just shut my mind off for 5 to 10 minutes and just relax, lower my heart rate, and focus on my breath. And there is a little bit of a difference between meditation and transcendental meditation, is that the goal for transcendental meditation is to transcend thought itself and experience pure awareness. So when you're in that focused mindfulness of transcendental meditation, you are absolutely feeling that awareness around you so strongly that it really can impact that feeling of being in the present moment, because we always get so stuck either in the past and we feel depressed about it, or we get stuck in the future and we feel anxiety about it. So when we focus on being in the present and being in the now by focusing on our breath, focusing on our heartbeat, and really just allowing those thoughts to come through our mind, and we don't judge those thoughts when we're doing meditation. You just let them come through your mind and let them pass. And over time, you'll begin to realize that you really do crave meditation. At first, I had a hard time doing it because I was so much in my autopilot mode, and my anxiety would kick in like no tomorrow. But the more I started to meditate, I started with 2 minutes, and then I boosted it to 5, and then I went up to 7, and then 10, and now I can sit, for at least 20 to 30 minutes in meditation, and it feels fantastic. And I really try to do it once or twice a day to not only calm my mind, but also to receive information from my higher self. So when I am in that theta state that Brad talks about in some of his videos, where you get into that deep theta state, that's where some of that healing can really happen. And that's where you open up that channel and you're in alignment with your higher self, and you can receive information on a much deeper level. So that can be really make a real impact on you and in your behaviors and the choices that you make. So becoming more aware of our thoughts and our feelings has a strong impact on the healing of our physical bodies, because of the energy associated with those positive, negative thoughts and feelings. So it's all about how you focus your energy. What vibration are you holding when you focus your energy and the intent behind it? So being consciously aware of that. Is your energy being focused on negative things, maybe things that are going on in the world that you can't control? Or are you focusing on more positive things that you can't control within your life, and really putting that intent in that energy and blossoming that? So that way, those are some of the things that can manifest into your reality. We've seen people pray over food, and there is an energetic reason why people do this. It's because the positive thoughts and intentions actually change the molecular structure of the food. So I know we are really concerned a lot about some of the chemicals and pesticides that are being sprayed on our food. And if we are focusing on that, we're focusing on, maybe you have this apple and you know that it's non-organic and it could be GMO, and you're like, I don't know if I want this apple. But if you focus positive intent on that apple and change the vibration of that apple, it actually changes the molecular structure of the apple. So don't take this from me. Go do your own research on this. These are some of the things that I have found that have been completely fascinating to me. So we've learned a little bit about how our thoughts impact our physical healing, but let's go a little bit deeper into it now, okay? So Nikola Tesla was an engineer and an inventor who really tested the boundaries with energy. He said, if you want to understand the universe, think in terms of vibration, frequency, and energy. This applies to the human body as well, of course, right? Our energy body consists of meridians. And these meridians run up and down our physical body, kind of like little energetic rivers is what I sort of envision them, or streams. And when these meridians get blocked, it can cause an imbalance in the physical body. So what types of things can block our meridians? Trapped emotions, right? So if we're not processing our emotions properly, we get these balls of energy that get stuck in our meridians, and they can manifest into physical symptoms. Stagnant energy, maybe living in the past and not moving on. When we're stagnant, we're stuck in the past and we're having a hard time moving forward. That can really block us up energetically. Not releasing your feelings when they come to the surface, right? Suppression and repression. That can definitely block us energetically. Not moving or exercising, right? We need to make sure that we're moving, because we are energetic beings. And if we aren't moving, then that energy just kind of stays there and it stays super stagnant. Lowering our personal vibration, right? Our energy moves much slower when we're at a lower vibration, when we're thinking those lower emotions. We're much more denser, we're lowering ourselves into that 3D density, and it can be really difficult, and it feels very sluggish, kind of like you're in quicksand. So when you have those higher vibrational emotions like happiness and joy and peace and love, you just feel it. Your heart's beating like crazy, and you can feel that energy behind it. Negative thinking and negative self-talk, those can definitely hinder your energetic system. Stress. I can't emphasize this one anymore, guys. Stress is horrible for your energy. Horrible. So one of the things that I like to do is get out into nature. Nature lowers your stress 51% just by spending time in nature. So get out there, even if it's taking a brisk walk for 20 minutes, get outside. It can really help you. Not only that, it has been known to lower blood pressure between 6 and 7 points. So that's huge, right? Eating processed foods, that lowers your vibration, and that also can have an impact on your energetic system. Also, resistance. When you resist things, it persists, right? So not going with the flow of life. Energy flows through us. That beautiful life force energy, that chi energy flows through us. And if we're resisting and we're all blocked up, we aren't allowing that energy to flow through our meridians. It's like we have all these little beaver dams or blockages, in our streams and in our rivers of our meridians, and it can cause us to have a lot of pain and a lot of resistance. So what can we do to heal on a deeper level? It's important to place yourself in a vibrational frequency higher than that of the illness or the unbalance that you're experiencing, right? So our ultimate goal in healing is to establish wholeness and alignment with the most optimal version of ourselves, right? So how do we go about doing that? We think positive thoughts and intentions about ourselves, about our bodies, about our healing process. We eliminate negative self-talk altogether, all right? We start believing and being open to being healed. That is key to allowing the energetic flow to come in, right? Letting go of that victim consciousness, that feeling of I can't be healed, I'll never be healed. I have this issue, I have this disease. Labeling yourself, that keeps you in that victim consciousness versus switching those those statements or those thoughts over to I am healthy, I am strong, I am healed, I am worthy, right? Not keeping it in I am a victim of, I have XYZ, right? I have been diagnosed with. This is sending out a vibration that is creating your reality, and your body is responding to it. So what you think is creating that energetic vibration, that intent, and then your body is responding to that. So also, another thing that you can do to heal is to deeply look into your shadow side, right? So what is our shadow side? It's all of those things in Pandora's box, so to speak, that we do not even want to touch, right? But all of the things that we don't want to accept or acknowledge out loud about ourselves is what we're afraid of talking about, right? Or dealing with or healing. So we are afraid to go into that deep, dark cave because we don't know what's in that deep, dark cave, but that is where all of the answers are to be healed. So when you shine light in that darkness, then that's when everything lightens up, right? Because darkness is passive and light is active. So when you have a dark room, you walk into a dark room, what do? You turn the light on, right? That's the only way that you can heal, is to dive into that shadow side and figure out what it is that is causing that murkiness, causing that pain, and then shining light on it. And then that's when you will start to heal. It's also important to find a modality that resonates with you. There are so many out there. I mean, believe me, I'm like a guinea pig for that stuff. I just love it. And I have it on my YouTube channel, The Soul Cafe. I'm starting to go to different natural healers and being able to share my experiences with others so they can have an idea of what different modalities are out there. So if you get a chance to check that out, go ahead. And healing can come through light, through sound, through color, through nature and other people and even animals. So healing really can come in such a variety of ways. So find a modality that resonates with you, because what resonates with you may not resonate with someone else. So figure out what it is that you like and that really works for you, and believe in it, right? That's half the battle, is believing in it. So another thing that I found healing is visiting sacred sites. Oh, I love this. I love to travel. So whenever I travel, I like to find a sacred site that I can go to. They reset your energetic system and can activate cellular memories within your body. And you can feel it, like when you actually go to Mount Shasta or go to Stonehenge or go to Hawaii. There are certain energetic places that you can actually go to and you can feel it, and it feels so amazing when you're there. Just sit there and just soak it all in and feel it and allow that land to heal you. It's just so wonderful. So what are some affirmations that you can use for healing? Okay, so I am deserving of healing. That's a simple one. I believe in my ability to heal. I allow my body to create a safe and nourishing environment for healing to occur. I am open to new ways of healing. That's a key. That's a good one. I let go of all resistance that holds me back from deep healing. I am fully capable of releasing emotions that no longer serve me. I am healed, I am healthy, and I am whole.